See, it's been just long enough since the last episode, which I believe was episode 104, that I'm starting to get those emails. Those, hey man, love the show, really looking forward to the next episode. Or the, so are you burnt out, Nate? What's wrong? No, I'm not burnt out, I'm just working. I'm working. So we're going to work tonight here. Episode 105 of Coast to Coast Pinball. Let's go. Welcome to Coast to Coast Pinball. My name is Nate Shivers. This is podcast commentary. I am a man out of quarters. How is everyone doing? Coming to you not live from Long Island City, New York. I can look out my window and I can see the Empire State Building across the East River with the blue and green stripes signifying the Jets and Giants because football season has started. They light that building up for all sorts of different events. I don't know if you're aware of that or not. How's it going? It's going well here. I am starting a week of Taylor Guitar Road Shows where we hold events in stores all week long, and I talk for a couple hours each night. I have a fantastic guitar player, product specialist traveling with me, so it's going to be a busy week. Don't know if I'll get a show done this week. I have no notes for a show for tonight. I've been frozen, expecting something to come out on The Walking Dead, Stern's release that's imminent, and nothing. Radio silence. I think they're waiting to get a little closer to the fall debut of the new season of The Walking Dead television show. So, here's what I've been doing. I've been playing some pinball. I've been on the East Coast for a few days. And a few nights ago, after taking the red-eye flight out to the East Coast, which I do not recommend. It seems like a good idea. Oh, this flight's cheap. Oh, I get there in the morning. I don't waste a whole day traveling east. I can just go and work and get things done. It's tough. It wears you out. So I took a red-eye. I saw 3 of my accounts, worked a full day, and then I went to the Silver Ball Museum in Asbury Park, New Jersey, and spent a couple of hours playing their fine collection of games. And I was tired. Maybe that's why I was so tired, because I found myself playing lots of EMs, lots of early solid-state games. I was playing Centigrade 37. I was playing Close Encounters of the Third Kind. I was playing old stuff, mostly. It's just what was fitting my mind at the time. Joker Poker, love that game. Atlantis, games like that. I was having a lot of fun. It was very enjoyable, and I was tired though. And every time I'd go and like walk over to the DMD stuff and hit start on Whitewater or Attack from Mars, the ball just seemed to be moving too fast for my poor head, and I couldn't do it. It's kind of how I feel tonight. I feel like hell. I'm tired, but we got to talk about something, right? The show is consistent, if nothing else. So, when in doubt, when I don't have a specific subject, and I haven't gone through my emails really, really well to see what people have asked me, we'll get to those at some point. But when I haven't done that, I think you know what I have to do.
Crazy Forum Static Mania!
I gotta say, out of all the little bumpers that we use, and some of them are Teresa, some of them are Announcer Guy, Crazy Forum Static Mania is the one that I cringe the most when I hear. And not because the segment's fine, it's actually kind of fun, but I hate the way that thing sounds. I should redo that. So, Crazy Forum Static Mania. This is what we call Nate Phones It In. Nate doesn't have a show prepared for you, but Nate wants to do a show, because Nate feels he owes it to somebody, himself maybe, to do the show. So what we do is we go to the Pinside Pinball Forums, which can be found at pinside.com/pinball/forum, if you don't know that. And we go through the forums and we take the top post on each sub-forum and we talk about it. Sometimes we talk in depth about that subject. Sometimes I don't know what on earth they're talking about, and we skip and move on. And we see how far we get before I burn out and have to call it a wrap. So, we're there now. I am looking at Pinside. Pinside is a great, great place for community. There's some bad with the good, but I like the good. Donate to Pinside. I encourage all of you to do so. So, here we are in the main forums. And the main forums are in a weird order for me nowadays. I have tech is the top main forum on mine, and I don't know why that is. I'm not sure if that's how it always goes now or what. But we're not going to start Coast to Coast Pinball in the tech forum. That would just be silly, now wouldn't it? We're going to go to the All Pinball forum, and we're going to start there. And in the All Pinball forum, the first subforum is also called All Pinball. And so we're going to click that, and the top subject in All Pinball is titled Machines with Similar or Identical Layouts. It's a good subject. I appreciate that. This was posted by Beelzebub. Beelzebub? From New Jersey, from where I am right now, sort of. I mean, I'm in New York now, but I was in New Jersey earlier this evening. This was posted about an hour ago here on a Sunday night. And he writes, "So, I know that Tron and Congo have similar layouts." I guess they do. Yeah, but Tron kind of has a layout like a few other games too. But anyway, here we go. "So I know Tron and Congo have similar layouts, which puts me out of the market for a Tron because I love my Congo too much." Those games play very different, by the way, in my opinion. "What other machines have similar or almost identical layouts? I was thinking Indiana Jones and Lord of the Rings because of the Path of the Dead, Path of Adventure, but not much else lines up, so never mind." Sort of a. He threw that post out, but then got self-conscious towards the end of it. Some of the examples that come to mind when I think of that have been pointed out to me over time. I mean, there's the obvious ones like Austin Powers, Iron Man, and then Shrek and Family Guy. I think we all know that. Clearly, when Star Trek came out last year, everybody said, "Oh my gosh, this thing is laid out just like Spider-Man." To Stern Games, they are very similar layouts. Again, though, playing both of those games, they don't feel the same, and they don't really play the same. There's another one that was redone. I guess it was Striker Extreme in NFL, right? Pinbot and Jackbot. Those are two games. I mean, very, very similar. Some might argue that a similar type playfield could be. There's similarities in Pinbot and Doctor Who, right? Kind of the same. The time expander is sort of the visor lifting up. Kind of. I always thought, if you wanted to really dig down and sort of, if you can pull away all the graphics and the design that's on top of the actual layout, if you look at Lord of the Rings and Sopranos, I don't know if you've ever done that before, there's a lot of similarities, which that era of Stern, I think we saw that. Some of them listed in here. Somebody put Monopoly and the Addams Family. That's interesting. I mean, both Pat Lawler designs, I don't think of them as being similar, but they are similar in design aspects for sure. Frankenstein, Jurassic Park, and Addams Family are all similar layouts, yet play very differently. That was one of the posts in there. Kind of. I could see that, for sure. In that they have a similar kind of, literal layout, but these games don't play alike. So, is this a good thing or a bad thing? I would like to take this one step further. Are there games that Stern should still be thinking about doing this with? Taking layouts that are already sort of proven and just retheming them. Obviously, we saw it with Shrek and Family Guy. We saw it with Austin Powers and Iron Man. Should they keep doing it? If you look at a game like Metallica is obviously one of their biggest selling games of late, and it has a theme that I could see a large portion of the public not really being into, because it's, hard rock, heavy metal, it's Metallica, it's gory on some level. Could you retheme Metallica into, I don't know, what's everyone looking for? Three Stooges pins? Is that what I've been hearing about? Or Minecraft or something, and just change all the toys so that they fit the new theme and change the artwork, but keep that layout with the ramps and the big toy in the back? Obviously, you wouldn't have an electrocution gimmick going on, probably, but I mean, should we be doing that? Is that a way to save money on design and the build and just pump out more machines? I don't know. I think that as we move a lot of these games into collectors' homes, that starts becoming a deterrent for some to buy, because I think people want something original. They want something new, and they want something designed with the theme in mind, integrated all together. And that's why you have some of these the greatest games of all time work that way. With Medieval Madness, it was the castle and the long shots and the moat, and I don't know, it's just all one thing. I don't know. Interesting thought. All right, moving on with Crazy Forum Static Mania. We're going to jump back a page. I'm not doing this quite right. We're going to go to all clubs, members only, which, as I point out, I'm not even a member of most of these clubs. And the top one is X-Men Official Club Thread All I'm welcome. They said I'm welcome in this one. So, I don't know what to say about this. It's 179 pages long. It was started 2 years and 4 months ago. Kind of interesting that if you go back two and a third years, we didn't know anything about X-Men, and now X-Men's this game that's been updated and changed and modded and all this stuff going on. So I'm actually looking on the last page and looking at what kind of people are talking about and scores that they're putting up there. And I feel like a little left behind with X-Men because I haven't played it very much since the major update, the major code update that added in all the cool stuff. And it seems like people who have this game or who are buying X-Men are really, really learning to love it. Like, to love X-Men. It's a shooter's game for sure. It has a lot of shots. Some of them are pretty tough to hit. Has some deep rules now, a lot going on. Some interesting call-outs have been added in. I want to play more X-Men, and there's not a lot of them out and around for me. I can't even... I do know where one is. There's one at Lanes and Games in Cambridge, Mass. That's in my kind of world of travel. So I definitely want to go play some X-Men. It's a game that, if it came up for the right price for me right now, if I could get a Pro in that like $3,500 range, maybe $3,000 to $3,500, I've seen them sell for that. I'd be very, very tempted to do that. I've seen LEs sell for $4,400 to $4,700 on Craigslist. So interesting. I think they've seemed to have popped up a little in price lately as the new code has made people a little more excited about this title. I've always kind of thought the artwork was fine. You didn't hear a lot of people talk about the artwork as much as you did the toys. I actually love the LE artwork on the X-Men games myself, but it is what it is. So I guess that's not much of a thread for this little here show we're doing, is it? Jumping into the next one is all game room talk. This is not Coast to Coast Game Rooms. I'm just kidding. Game room build underway. K3V is the originator of this thread, and he is in Corfu, New York. He's part of the Buffalo Pinball Gang. I think I know. This is Kevin, correct? K3V, Kevin. We've talked maybe. So if you jump into this, is a pretty fun thread to go into. Not just this thread, but the whole subtopic, because it's people posting about where they're putting their games and how they're, housing them, and it gives you ideas. It gives you thoughts. My games are just in my office. We have a 2-bedroom condo, and one of the bedrooms is my office, because I used to work from home, mostly, as an independent contractor in sales, and now I don't, but I still have an office, because I just feel like I should have an office. So my computer's in there. A lot of our guitars and our music, because Teresa and I play music, is all in there, and then there's 3 pinball machines. And not a lot of decoration put into it, because we rent it. We rent our condo. So I've never really made it my own, per se. Looking at this thread, he started with a 1.5-ish, as he calls it, car garage that used to be home of his pinball machines and video games. And I'm looking at his old lineup here. He had a Congo, a No Fear, a Judge Dredd, and a Doctor Who. Very respectable. I like it. And then he cleared it all out, and then he destroyed it. He destroyed the building. He built a new building, an addition to the house of sorts. And I've actually built a house myself. My father was a builder, and he and I built a house a few years ago in Maryland. So he says his house is around 1,500 square feet, and the garage that he's adding on is 1,200 square feet, 8-foot walls. It's pretty awesome. So you can document sort of the build-out process, and it's really fantastic. It's a basic garage building with a pitched roof, because he's in the upstate New York area where it's going to snow on him. Looks like he has stairs. Is this thing multi-level? Oh man, I'm jealous. It's awesome. So anyway, I think it's a good just reminder to go jump into this subtopic sometimes and see where other people are putting their games, what they're doing with them. Looks like he's still in the build-out phase. No insulation or sheetrock on the inside of the walls, but his pinball machines and some video games are in there, and that's pretty awesome. I'm super, super jealous. I live in Southern California where there's not a lot of space to do stuff like this. So anyway, that's good stuff. So there's lots of different threads in there where people can post about not just their game room, but like little things they're doing in their game room, different signage and decor and all sorts of that stuff. What flooring to use, lots of good resources in the all game room talk. Next is the all modding subreddit, and the top post is Demolition Man with black armor and handles. So we're going to see here a modded Demolition Man with black armor, and the handles are done black too. Looks very slick. Actually, it looks super kind of like modern. I like all black rails if there's black on the playfield and on the cabinet. Sometimes I see black added to games that have a more of a colorful look, more blues and greens and reds, and the black doesn't look right, kind of contrasts funny to me. But Demolition Man with this black armor, whose is this? I need to give some credit here. This is Al, username Al, who has a Steelers logo as his avatar, so maybe he's in Pennsylvania. Yeah, really liking that. I didn't read this, very thoroughly to see if he did this himself, but, obviously Demolition Man has the second set of flippers up on the gun handles, and he powder-coated the rails, the legs, the lockdown bar, hinges, handle, the coin door is black. It looks really fantastic. I like it. I'm for it. I have kind of thought about Tales from the Crypt as a game that could have black or blue. Maybe it's a real blue cabinet, so maybe black wouldn't work. But I don't know. I've kind of been on the itch to like do some powder coating or maybe buy some new legs. My legs on a couple of my games are kind of gross. So anyway, go check out Al's Demolition Man. I think this thread's quite a old thread. Yeah, a year and 3 months old. It's the beauty of Pinside. It's just all there. So that's in the all modding. Boy, I'm glad that some of the ones below that didn't end up on top because I wouldn't have known what I was talking about. Transportation questions. Yes, transportation questions has its entire own subcategory on Pinside. Back box removal for transport on a System 11. Okay. Pinsider AM Kopfer? I can't read that name. Does anyone know how hard it is to remove a back box on Dr. Dude? Probably buying one next week, and the only way it will fit in SUV is with the box off. I've done it with the Daddy Simpsons. The way he wrote D.E. Simpson, it looked like he wrote, I've done it with the Simpsons. But don't know how hard it is with this one. Just a couple of bolts and mark all the wires? ? Thanks. And then he gets some answers like, yes, basically that's it. Yeah, I don't recommend pulling heads off of games because you can, especially older games, because, man, you get into some of those connectors. Those Molex connectors can just be brittle and bad. So I would definitely take a look at it and be careful when you're pulling things off the boards. You don't want to damage things, bend things, crack things, break things. If you have a friend with a truck or a bigger SUV, borrow it. I go as far as if I need to transport a pinball machine, I will. And he's in a town in Michigan I've never heard of. Maybe this isn't an option for him. And it certainly is added cost, but I usually go rent like a Ford Explorer or something if I need, because I drive a smaller sedan. I can't put a pinball machine in the back of a Volkswagen CC. Doesn't fit. So I go rent something, and I just want to simply fold it down, legs off, in, bring it out, legs on, out, and go. I don't want to take the head off of a game. Not my scene. But if you're, comfortable with that, by all means. But I don't really recommend it. Dr. Dude, interesting game there. I hadn't played a ton. I owned a Party Zone for a long time. And those games obviously are sort of, Nordman, sister games in a way. And I didn't like Party Zone. Like, I owned that game for a long time, and I never liked that game. And so I always lumped Dr. Dude into that. And I don't really like Dr. Dude either. I think neither of those games have a lot to shoot for. But they're colorful, they're bright, they're eye-catching. I played a lot of Dr. Dude because it was in the B division at Papa. And when I was trying to put together some semblance of a ticket at Papa, and I was having lots of trouble, I was doing pretty well on Dr. Dude, so that kind of became the game I would start my tickets with, because my whole goal was not to put up a bad score on my first game and thus feel like I was wasting an entry. So Dr. Dude was the game I started leading off with, but then I just started putting up a bad score on my second ticket and then voiding those tickets. So I actually really read up on the rules of Dr. Dude sitting there on my phone at Papa and figured out how it works, how to get to multi-ball, how the scoring goes, and there's not a lot to it. I mean, that's the reality of it. I saw somebody put up one of the top 10 scores, though, without ever hitting the multi-ball. Like, he walked away, and it was a really good score. And just, dude I hadn't really ever met before, but I was chatting with. And he came away, and I said, great score, just trying to be friendly. And he said, thanks. I'm like, did you do that with only one multi-ball? Because it was a big score. And he goes, I never started multi-ball. I don't know how. And I'm like, I think the score was like 30 million, maybe. I don't even know. And I was like, you didn't start multi-ball and score that high? He goes, no, I just kept hitting two other shots over and over. He played forever, so interesting. They're fun games. They don't last for me, especially in a small collection. They will bore me personally fairly quickly. So, all right, that does it with the all pinball forums. So, since these are not in order like they used to be for me, we're gonna have to just choose another forum to go through, and I think we're going to choose game manufacturers, right? Isn't that a good one? We're going to go with game manufacturers here on episode 105. All right, so we're in game manufacturers, and the first subforum is Bally/Williams, and the top Bally/Williams is going to be one that I don't know anything about. It's Creature from the Black Lagoon playfield differences. What are they? ? So there's multiple versions of the Creature from the Black Lagoon playfield that has some color differences, I know. And I don't know if it's prototypes or what, but there's a few things I know. The color of the girl's hair, I believe, changes. Just little things. This is where you start going way down the rabbit hole of different bits of artwork, little things like that. This is not my side of pinball. I don't really care. I had a game. What game did I have? Or no, I was looking at a game to buy, and they were telling me how, this is a prototype. It's one of the first 300 made. It has this and this. And it was, I don't even remember what the game was. I want to say it was it a Judge Dredd or I don't remember. It was something, pretty basic. They built a few of them, and it wasn't that big of a deal. And the seller was really trying to sell me on, no, man, this one's really special. And I just didn't care. I wanted to know if it played well. Does this thing play well? What condition's it in? Because I'm just not sure, aside from a few very specific games that are rare, that little things like this are going to really increase the value all that much. It's more for just the baseball collecting card side of it. Like, what's different here? What's different there? And I guess I'm not that guy. But and I'm certainly not demeaning this on any level. It's just not interesting to me. So, in any case, more power to you. We're going to choose the next thing down in Bally/Williams, just to see if it's of any more interest. And it's actually probably not going to be, because it's Williams System 11 Power Supply Whirlwind. Hi, I have a Whirlwind machine that I've had for about 11 years now, among others. A few years ago, the displays started becoming intermittent and then stopped working. I replaced R4 with a bunch of numbers. Is this guy in the U.S.? 220, blah, blah, blah. I don't know if he's in the U.S. He's talking about resistors for the power supply. I'm failing you guys. I'm sorry. This is not interesting. All right. Next is the Stern Pinball subreddit. We need our Mustang code. Pinsider Monarcha 1091. Okay, Stern, you guys did the Star Trek upgrade code. Now please finish our Mustang code. please. And when I see him the way he writes please with lots of E's in it, it reminds me of Teresa sometimes when she's whining for like something, like she wants her tuck at night and I'm busy and she says please. I'm like, all right. So, the first code after that is I hope they're not done with it. I'm waiting. They're not done with it, I guarantee you. It took them a long time. Star Trek was 7, 8, 9 months to get where we are now. Mustang's an interesting one, and I'm just going to take this time to talk about it more in the general sense than just the code, because I don't know the code all that well. I've played the game a few dozen times. It plays fast. A lot of people at Papa who knew who I was, who wanted to just talk shop with me, said, so what do you think of Mustang? And I said, I think it's okay, because it was in the B division at Papa, and I wasn't playing it, because I was having a hard enough time with some of the older, slower games that didn't need Mustang. And I said, I think it's okay. I think it's a good example of a modern Stern pinball machine. I think I've said it enough times, the theme doesn't do much for me. Honestly, the layout doesn't really do much for me. It kind of reminds me, in a way, of something from like 5 years ago from Stern. Something about it, I don't know. I don't want to. Not that I'm saying that it feels cheap or anything. It's just something there. It's like if that had been the next game after Family Guy, I wouldn't be surprised, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So it hasn't caught my imagination. And I have talked to many people who said, no, man, it's really, really fun. You got to play it. It's so fun. And they keep using the word fun with me in Mustang because, you know, it's got rock and roll music. It's got lots of colors. It's got car sounds. You're going on races. It's fun, right? I don't know. Not really. It's okay. It's going to be interesting to see how long it takes for the LEs and premiums to sell out through all the distributors around the country, because I just don't see any demand for that game. I mean, there were some early adopters who were in for the theme. There were a few. Actually, a few more than I expected. But I just do not see any, like, you know, 6 months out, people going, oh, no, this game's really great. There's not that trail that came behind, like, AC/DC and then Metallica and now Star Trek, where the longer people have it, the more people are into it. I'm not hearing any of that. You know, the game was designed quickly. It was designed with that theme in mind to work with Ford. I get it. I'm not even really criticizing. You know, you can't hit them all out of the park. Avengers had, I think, a better buzz going in, but that game just didn't do it for most players. Most of the real diehards that I'm in contact with or that I read about on Pinside, Avengers didn't do it. And it was sort of an anti-Avengers theme. That I read in a lot of emails and reviews. I don't get that out of Mustang. It's more of just apathetic. Just like, meh, it's okay. It's all right. So it's going to be actually sort of an interesting thing because it's not like Avengers where it felt cheap, had clunky shots, had kind of bad geometry, I thought. I'll say it. Avengers had bad geometry. Mustang doesn't have that. I wouldn't say that. It just doesn't do it for me, and I don't think it's kind of doing it for a lot of other people. Know what I'm saying? All right. Next we have the Jersey Jack Pinball Sub Forum. And the top post here is Pat Lawler's new Jersey Jack Pinball Machine Progress Update. This Progress Update was actually posted about a month ago by our friends over at Pavlov Pinball. If you have not checked out Pavlov Pinball, go to Pavlov, you know, like Pavlov's dog, PavlovPinball.com, and our friend Paul Rubin has a really fantastic ongoing blog about all things pinball, and it's pretty cool. It's a good read. So if you've got some time and you're looking for more pinball material to look into and read about, and somebody else's take on things, definitely check that out. So this update was basically kind of a recap on Pavlov Pinball from August 1st about how Jack got in touch with Pat Lawler, what's going to go on with the game. And I think the big takeaway was sort of the end of this, where he asked Jersey Jack, will the new game have a second right flipper in the upper part of the playfield, a feature of 3 Lawler masterpieces, the Addams Family, Twilight Zone, No Good Gopher, that are currently set up in Pavlov Towers. I guess Paul owns all 3 of those games. And Jack, as he quotes him, pauses for a second as if wondering what he can reveal, then smiles. Yes, he says it will. Bingo. So that's interesting. That's actually a pretty interesting take that Jack was actually willing to say, yeah, there is an upper right flipper, as a matter of fact. So that's cool. I think we're all sort of like, anxiously waiting on this, and we may be waiting a while because they've got to sell The Hobbit. That's still a ways to go. There's people in this thread predicting what's going on. High Protein here from Jacksonville, Florida says, I predict 3 flippers, ramps, at least 2 neat toys, and 1 unique gimmick. That's a pretty good bet. I think there might even be more. I think that this is the first time we're going to see Pat Lawler, I think, get to freely design without lots of budget constraints and without, I don't know, sort of the sourness that was, I think, the pinball industry the last few times we saw Pat Lawler designs. It's going to be interesting. I think we're going to get to see him design a little more freely with Jack. Hopefully they can sell a bunch of games. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm a big Pat Lawler fan. Cannot wait. I don't know when we'll see something on that. It'd be interesting. Be interesting. We should see Hobbit more soon. It may be here. I'm a little out of touch. I haven't been paying super attention the last week or so. So there may be even more stuff leaking. Highway Pinball. Where are we at with Highway Pinball? Are they building these full throttles or not? What's up? Highway Pinball, official Pinside thread. It's got 70 posts on it. Highway Pinball is one of the real wild cards in the small build pinball game. And there's more and more coming out. I noticed a couple weeks ago they posted a video about the villain of Full Throttle, Francisco Valentino. And they're giving us little glimpses into what's happening at Highway. I'm actually going to play this video while we're recording here and take a look at what Highway Pinball is posting. I think it's... I'm not fancy enough to be able to route my audio into the show like this, but they have a video posted recently from Highway Pinball at the 2014 UK Pinball Party, and it's really just the big reveal of the game where they had it covered and they pull it off, and Andrew Highway's kind of showing it off. People are going to play it. So, the game's for real. One of the things that strikes me about this is the back box. Go look at this video and the pictures. It's really thin. The back box isn't the typical 8-inch depth that we're all used to seeing on Bally Williams and Stearns games. It looks like it's 3.5 inches deep, something like that. It's a much thinner back box. They really did do some new design elements there. There's still a translate. There's still speakers up there, but it's not the same deep back box that we're all used to seeing. The side rails in these photos look really wide. I don't know if that's just the angle of the photography. There is something different about the look of this game because it has, the Full Throttle panels on the game, and not full-on artwork, because unless I'm totally wrong here, this is a modular system, right? We can buy the game to put in the box, right? It's late. I'm confusing my builders, but I believe that's true here. So it's sort of a different-looking game, and I'm 100% positive this will be at Expo this year, and I'll be at Expo this year, so I'll get to play this and take some pictures and video and give you my thoughts of a game with a big DMD in the playfield with X crossing ramps and a really cool storyline based around motorbikes. So there's your briefest of brief Highway Pinball updates. What else we got in here? Skit B Pinball. The subforum on Skit B Pinball. Some kids in the basement. Where do you stand on your Predator pre-order? So, where does everyone stand? This was posted 4 months ago. Let's look at the latest post on where do you stand on your Predator pre-order and just see what the people are saying. The latest post says, thanks to another Pinsider here. Glad it's not shipping right now, though, as I'm too busy building my new home theater room and my time is limited. That's sort of an interesting take. So people, have been putting deposits down on some of these games, and you don't really know how long it is till your game comes. I'm in this boat. I have money down on America's Most Haunted. I am anxiously awaiting my America's Most Haunted. I am not in the boat of hoping it won't ship because I need my money for other things. I want my game. I want it to ship. And I'm really trying hard to just leave Charlie alone. I'm not going to email Charlie and ask him where my game is. I feel like it's bad luck. I'm just going to do my thing, bide my time, wait for my ghost. But I do know that thought of having a deposit on something and then kind of it takes a while. That's the problem, I think, with putting deposits on things that are so far away, is that you don't know what your finances are going to be like a year from now, 2 years from now, and that makes it tough. So I wish Kevin and Skip guys the best of luck getting these first games built, getting these Predator games done and built. I know he did a second interview on the Pinheads podcast, our friends down under in Australia, and I noticed when he was asked about the idea of having Jersey Jack, who's going to build their second game, Experts of Dangerous, build the first game, build a Predator, it sounded to me like, and maybe I'm totally reading into what Kevin said, and he'll tell me I'm wrong and in person at some point, maybe, if I'm wrong here, but I almost think he's probably saying, I wish we could have them build this one too at this point, because building a pinball machine is really hard to do, and that's just not possible in this one. This game came out, I think it was $4,700, something like that, $4,800, and having a third party build that game at that price just probably doesn't work financially. So hopefully they get these done. I know they've got a lot of people helping and working, so best of luck. It'll be very fun to see Predator games being opened, watch some box opening videos on Pinside when we get to that point. All right, where are we at? Multimorphic. Jerry Schellenberg and Multimorphic, the P3 platform and P-Rock. Open house that I believe was yesterday in Austin, Texas, is the top post in the Multimorphic forum. So they had an open house in Texas. I'm hoping at the bottom of this thread we'll see photos. Looks like we do. Excellent. He says, thanks everybody who joined us. It was a great day. We had a nice turnout that was nicely distributed throughout the day, got some great feedback, and found a few issues, some of which are already resolved. It is always rewarding to see that this machine appeals equally to both experienced and new players and people of all ages. Of course, we're talking about Lexi Lightspeed Galaxy Girl, which is built on the P3 platform. Another modular platform where the side art, the cabinet art, the translate, and part of the game actually can be swapped out. The main bit of the playfield is a LCD screen, and there's a lot of potential here. And I know Jerry is one of the most passionate people in this hobby/industry about doing something new and different with pinball, and he's really there doing something new and different. So very cool. They held an open house. As always, he says, once the party gets going, most people tend to enjoy the machine and the conversation and forget to take pics and vid. I snapped a few pics, and we set up a video camera rig, recorded about 6 hours of gameplay. Unfortunately, the camera wasn't high enough to capture most of the upper playfield, so I'm a little hesitant to post much video. It's tough, man. It's always tough to get good video of pinball playing, I find. I've tried. I've done a little. I have a video on Coast2CoastPinball.com. If you go there and click on the videos tab of Lexi Lightspeed Galaxy Girl last year at the Texas Pinball Festival. So I'll be adding more of those videos as we get to Expo and through Expo. It's kind of what the videos on my site are going to be. It's going to be first early looks at games where a lot of people are interested but maybe can't go to the shows or live on the other side of the world and really want to see what we would see at a show or at an expo. So, but yeah, it looks like they had a lot of fun. I'm glad that people came out and checked out the game. I really hope they get this thing out and built and going and in production. I hope somebody latches onto this. There's probably some refinement to be had, I would imagine. You know, and I know Jerry listens to the show sometimes, and I would tell him that. I did tell him that. I think there's still a lot of work. I think their overall design aesthetic is pretty great. I would have liked to see more detail and more more of what I was seeing on the Translite happen on the playfield, I think. That was probably my last thought, but that was months ago. There may be more of that. So looking forward to seeing that again at Expo, and we'll give you an update. Maybe we'll have Jerry come on the show at some point. We'll talk more about it. So kudos to you guys. All right, Planetary Pinball. Subforum, Planetary Pinball. You know, the folks building Medieval Madness. And the top thread on this is Medieval Madness Remake, how about an update? And there's actually an update thread right below it with 380 some replies. So looks like this is just people saying, I want my game, when is it going to start shipping? So maybe in that larger thread there will actually be answers. I've not heard much lately. I know that they had finally sorted out what we were going to do for the armor and the leg color. That was kind of the big talking point for a long time. Rick posts updates to the Medieval Madness game on the Planetary Pinball website. If you look through the threads, you will see links to that. And he has the first pre-production game built, and it's set up, and man, they look beautiful. That's one thing about seeing a game that you already know being rebuilt. There's something just very beautiful about. So I literally played a Medieval Madness tonight at the Sunshine Laundromat. I didn't even tell you I went there. See, I'm hiding things from you. I went to the Sunshine Laundromat in Brooklyn tonight. I had to go to the airport shortly after and pick up my buddy. But I did play some games. I played Medieval Madness. And, you know, it's in pretty good shape. But to see a brand new one in these photos, there's something kind of special and magical about that. And the LEDs just make it jump off. So if you're in on Medieval Madness, and I know there's a lot of you listening that are, because I get emails about it all the time, and a lot of you still think I'm in on it. I'm currently out on it. Someday, maybe. Someday. There's updates all the way through, looks like 8/13, so a few weeks ago, about almost a month ago. But these games are coming. This is for real. This is happening. It's exciting, and it's the tip of the iceberg, folks. And I know how hard it is to wait for something early like this, especially for the people who last year at Expo, almost a year ago, you know, threw down their money right away. And it's been a year. But just thinking like 5 years when Planetary sold a bunch of games and rebuilt a bunch of famous games that we all wish we could have new in box, and they're there. How cool it is. So this is pretty exciting times, I think. I tend to look towards the positive side. And then the last sub-forum here in pinball manufacturers, or game manufacturers they call it, is boutique and home brew. I hate the term home brew because it sounds like a bunch of drunk dudes threw together a box and put some flippers on it. Boutique, I kind of like boutique, but in my industry of guitars, I work in acoustic guitars, boutique builders tend to be people who build handmade products in very, very small runs. And I think some of the companies that get pushed into this, quote, boutique building category are not truly what I think of as boutique. I think a game like maybe some of the J-pop games, some of the John Popadiuk games where they were going to be limited to, you know, small numbers like 24 games or 15 games or whatever they're going to be. Maybe those are boutique games. I could see that. Maybe something like Whoa Nelly, Big Juicy Melons, Nordman and Ferris, where, I don't know, would they build like 2 of those with potential to do more? Maybe that's a boutique game to me. I don't think I would call America's Most Haunted or The Big Lebowski or just some of these other games with the goal in mind is to build as many as possible as boutique. I would call that just independent builders, small builders, something like, I don't know, whatever, just a word. So anyway, the top post here is concerning The Big Lebowski. The Big Lebowski playfield, any updates? So this is an older thread from like 5 months ago that's been updated all the way through to, I believe, today. Yeah, just a few hours ago. And there is definitely a lot of very excited people about The Big Lebowski. There will be a Big Lebowski VIP launch party in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, September 27th in the Netherlands. So if you're in the Netherlands or somewhere near the Netherlands, you should check that out. It's at the Grand Café Lebowski. So they have a Lebowski, and the quote from the movie has the S word in it. And this is a show for children too, so I won't drop the quote. But if you know the Big Lebowski that well, you know the quote, and about some new things coming to light. So I got to tell you, this is probably obviously Expo is going to be a lot of stuff this year. I think we're all already looking towards that. This is, I think, the year we really reach terminal velocity on all these independent and small build games. And the Big Lebowski, to me, is the one that has the potential to really